What is up there, YouTube? This is J-Man Time, and today I have a video on Iraq's new main battle tank, which has been in development for at least 5 years now. And it is not just one tank, it is actually 2 series of experimental main battle tanks that are meant to replace many of the old, aging Soviet and Chinese era tanks that are still being used by some units of the Iraqi army and the popular mobilization forces, also known as the Al-Hashadid Al-Shabi. And this tank series is known as the Al-Kafeel 1 and Al-Kafeel 2, which are 2 experimental main battle tanks that have been in development since 2017 in the Iraqi city of Karbala. Now, the Al-Kafeel 1 and Al-Kafeel 2 are 2 tank projects that are being developed by one of Iraq's popular mobilization units, or PMU units, known as the Al-Abbas Combat Division. The Al-Abbas Combat Division is part of the Al-Hashadid Al-Shabi, which is an Iraqi volunteer unit or division, which is a collection of Iraqi volunteer militias that have become part of the Iraqi armed forces since the rise of ISIS in 2013-2014. The Al-Abbas Combat Division is based in the city of Karbala, and they are led by a man named Ayatollah al-Sistani, who is a high-ranking Shia clerk in the city of Karbala, Iraq. This project was started in 2017 by one of the Al-Abbas members known as Sheikh Maitam al-Zidi, who has been heading both of these projects since 2017 and 2020. Now, the Al-Kafeel project is an attempt by the Iraqi PMU to rebuild and redesign all of the old Soviet-era T-54-55s, Chinese-made Type 59s, Type 69s, and T-62 tanks that were purchased from the Soviet Union and China during the Cold War. Now, since the Saddam Hussein era, Iraq has used an armada's worth of old T-55 and T-62 variants that were produced in both Russia and China, first during the Iran-Iraq War and during the Gulf Wars of 1991 and 2003. Now, many of these tanks are severely outdated and are in desperate need of repair. So the Al-Abbas Combat Division came up with this project in order to modernize all of these old main battle tanks to 21st century standard. Both of the Al-Kafeel tanks have a number of upgrades that are now seen on most main battle tanks serving both in Iraq and throughout the Middle East in countries like Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Iran. For example, they all received modular armor upgrades. They even have some new computing systems and electronics. One of the upgrades is a remote-controlled coaxial 12.7mm M2 Browning heavy machine gun fitted into an armored turret that can rotate 360 degrees. The tanks also have new era armor and other anti-tank missile defense systems slapped onto them. On top of that, the entire armor scheme of these tanks have been completely redesigned and rebuilt from scratch, turning the old T-54-55s, Type 59s, and the T-62 tanks into more modern main battle tanks. Now, they will still have the same weapon systems they had. For example, the Al-Kafeel 1 will have the old T-54-55's 100mm D-10T main gun, while the other Al-Kafeel 1 variants, like the T-62 variant, will have the 115mm Soviet U-5TS main gun, also known as the 2A20 main gun, the 115mm gun of the T-62 tank. The basic armor thickness will be between 120 to at least 250mm, plus the new anti-tank missile defense systems and era armor. The speed of the Al-Kafeel 1 and 2 will be at least 51 kilometers or 32 miles per hour, and they will have a reduced crew capacity of 3 instead of the 4 crew capacity you would see on the older T-54-55s and T-62 variants. Now, this project started in 2017 for the Al-Kafeel 1, and the first prototype was unveiled in the year of 2020. Now, since 2020, the tank has gone through a number of issues. One, the design of the tank is considered too advanced to be manufactured right now in Iraq, and the Al-Abbas Combat Division is trying to get money or trying to raise money in order to start a tank production facility to manufacture the Al-Kafeel 1 in the city of Karbala, Iraq. But so far as of 2022, that has not yet happened, and the Al-Kafeel 1 is only a prototype for now. Currently, they are also working on an Al-Kafeel 2. The Al-Kafeel 2 would be a complete redesign of the old Chinese Type 69 and old Soviet T-72 tanks. I remember during the Saddam Hussein era, the Iraqi army had also upgraded many of the old Soviet T-72s that were sold to Iraq during the Iran-Iraq War just before the 1991 Gulf War. And they had also upgraded many of the old T-54-55s, for example the T-54-55 Enigma and the Lion of Babylon, which were two upgraded Iraqi designed versions of the old T-54-55. So the Al-Kafeel 2 will pretty much be an upgrade of the old Type 69 tank from China and the old Soviet T-72. But for now, the Al-Abbas Combat Division has not shown the finished prototype of the Al-Kafeel 2. And that's basically it. The Al-Kafeel 1 and 2 are designed to upgrade all of the old Soviet-era Chinese and Soviet-made tanks that are still in storage in Iraq and convert them into more modern 21st century standard main battle tanks in order to substitute or to have a cheaper alternative to the American M1 Abrams tank and the Russian T-90 tanks that are also being purchased by Iraq right now and have been purchased by Iraq and used by Iraq since at least 2014-2016 in terms of the M1 Abrams and the T-90 tanks that are currently in service with the Iraqi army. So the Al-Kafeel 1 and Al-Kafeel 2 are basically Iraq's attempt to both rebuild all of their old Soviet-era tanks and to have more modern tanks and MBTs in their arsenal. So what do you all think of this? The new Iraqi tank, the Al-Kafeel 1, and the soon-to-be revealed Al-Kafeel 2, which are two tank projects that have been in development since 2017. Please tell me in the comments section below, and until next time, this was J-Man Time, signing off.